In the recent TDS update, Brawler has received a massive rebalance towards all the levels, lowering the DPS and giving back its hidden detection. I'll be showcasing all the changes, how to use the new rebalanced Brawler, and deciding whether it's a buff or a nerf. Let's get into the video. The level 0 Brawler went from 10 damage to 6 damage. The fire rate went from 1 to 0.6. The DPS is the same overall, so this is an overall buff because Brawler is able to not waste his high damage on low HP enemies, unlike before, and is still able to keep the same DPS. You are able to use this in most game modes early game easily because it doesn't waste damage as much as before. The level 1 Brawler went from 950 cost to 900. The damage went from 10 to 9, and the fire rate went from 0.75 to 0.6. The DPS went from 13.3 to 15, and the cost efficiency went from 71 to 60. This is a huge buff to level 1, making it less of a filler level, although I would still only upgrade this to level 1 to waste less space. The level 2 Brawler went from 1800 to 1750, the damage is now decreased from 15 to 12, and the final hit is also decreased from 30 to 24. The combo cooldown went from 1 to 0.75, which nerfs the DPS from 27 to 24, and the cost efficiency went from 66 to 71. But the one thing that made this an overall buff is that Brawler now has hidden detection back. So you don't need to use towers like Firework Technician or other early game towers anymore for hiddens, which is a good thing. The level 3 Brawler went from 4050 to 3750, the damage is massively decreased from 30 to 20, and the final hit is also decreased from 60 to 40. The combo cooldown went from 0.75 to 0.65, which nerfs the DPS from 61 to 43, and the cost efficiency from 66 to 86. The part that makes this a huge buff is that Brawler now gains reposition on this level instead of level 4. Even though it deals no damage, the fact you can knock back enemies around it and move Brawler around the entire map is insane. Level 4 Brawler went from 10,050 to 8,750. The range is decreased from 7 to 6.5, the damage is decreased from 50 to 40, the final hit went from 100 to 80. The combo cooldown went from 0.6 to 0.5, and the reposition damage went from 80 to 100. DPS went from 114 to 106, but the cost efficiency went from 88 to 82. This is another buff to Brawler because it's cheaper and it's more cost efficient with hidden detection as well. Finally, the max level Brawler went from 27,050 to 21,250. The damage is decreased from 100 to 85, and the final hit is decreased from 300 to 170. This makes the DPS go from 333 to 226, and the cost efficiency went from 82 to 94. This is a huge nerf to max, but it's justified since every other level got buffed, and Brawler now has hidden detection, which makes sense to why max Brawler lost a lot of DPS. The meta now is to get level 0 Brawlers in the early game, then get level 2 Brawlers for the early game bosses or hiddens. Level 3 Brawler is also strong for moving around the map for leaks, and you should get level 4 Brawlers for the cost efficiency. After that, you can max Brawler for the extra sub DPS in the late game. I still think this tower needs a nerf because it shouldn't be this strong for the entire game, and this makes using towers like Golden Scout pointless. Overall, I would say Brawler is still an S tier tower. It's just better in every level, but max losing 100 DPS. If you only use this tower for the early game to mid game, then this is a huge buff, but you can also argue that it's a nerf overall because the late game is massively nerfed due to the minus 100 DPS.